I've been struggling to get this Corolla started, and the battery and starter are both good. So I need to look at the starter relay, and they're not always where you might expect them to be, such as the fuse and relay center. In this 2010, the starter relay is behind these heater controls. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to take this console covers apart. Take all the pieces out so that we can get at the relay and take it out, troubleshoot it, test it, and then also troubleshoot the socket. Thanks for watching. Okay, first we're going to go after these side trim pieces. The two of them, just got to give them a jerk. And they just are held in about 4 places along the length here. Same kind of deal. Okay, over here on these side trim panels, got to start up at the top. And okay, so with both fingers underneath here on both sides, you can pry up on this. This is not easy to get out. And just rock this back and forth till it pulls out. First side panel free. The time I used a pry tool like this, when it goes, it pretty much goes all at once. Those 2 screws on each side look like 10 millimeter. Use a 1/4 inch drive, maybe a 6. That is correct, 10 millimeter. You're going to get it best with a 1/4 drive, so take those 4 out. Okay, you might want to use a grabbing tool for these. But it also snaps in. Wow, so this whole thing comes out together. Okay, these upper ducts can then be separated from the radio. Okay, so we unplug the radio. Add it to our growing collection of parts and tools on this job. Okay, a couple screws have to come out too, 1 on each side. When you get those out, now you can look back here. There's the relay center. See that black unit with 2 screws right there. I'd like to get the heater control out of the way, but it looks like after these 2 screws came out, there's still this bracket in the way here. Let's turn this shift knob out because we're going to have to lift this console out. Underneath here now. Lift that up. It's held in one more place, it looks like. It's roughly right over here. Okay, there's a catch right there, and one on the opposite side. See if we can wiggle these loose. There. Okay, now we can get this. This wiring is holding everything in, of course. Now this heating control separates from the unit below it. It pushes back, and then you can kind of set this out of the way. I didn't unplug it, I just kind of hung it up there. Okay, I'm going to take this unit out and just squeeze and pull on these two. Just remember where they went. Okay, now I'm lifting this up out of the way. You can kind of turn this off to the side. Okay, to get this center console cover, there's just one connector in there. There. Now we've got even more room to work. Okay, so this is the relay center right here. So let's take these 2 out. 2 10 millimeter. I'm gonna call them screws because they're just screws. Okay, as we look around, as we spin this around, you can see that these are individually pinned out. There's no harness that you can take this whole unit out with. So we're going to have to pull out the relays one by one. Test them. I also don't see any indication of which relay is which. Okay, up here the blue and the black wire are larger gauge wires. So I'm going to assume those might be the ones. The starter relay, and it's actually that little purple one in the corner there. So I carefully rocked this with some vice grips to take it out. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the contacts on this relay and identify what they are. This one right here is the control signal coming from the ignition switch. And this one is the ground on that control circuit, completing the circuit. This gold colored one here is power from battery plus through a fuse, and finally we have the out put to the solenoid. We've made this up to be able to insert this into the socket to test it. Okay, let's put our test clip socket, a test clip into the socket. Like so. Now we'll crank the start car and look for a solid voltage. So for a ground, I'm using this tube. Up here, the steel tube. Okay, now turning the ignition switch. Getting 11.3 volts. So next we're checking the power to the solenoid. 12.5. That's solid. That's battery voltage, which it should be. I'm testing this relay and I've got a little simple circuit. I've got a 12 volt signal coming in here on the coil. This will be coming from a DC power supply. And then the load side, the contact side of the relay, I've cooked up to a battery, 12 volt DC battery. That's on one of these two. And the other one, the other contact is going to a test light here. The other end of the test light to the ground on the battery. So then we turn on the power, and the light comes on, indicating that the relay is working. You can hear a little click here. See? Okay, let's put the relay block back in. Two 10mm screws designed for plastic. Okay, there's two things plugged in here, the back of this auxiliary and airbag block here. You have to get this down in here first, the console. Then remember, let's get the camera down there. There's a plug here. There's a wire that has to be plugged in. That into place. I'm going to get this loosely down. And now this one is behind it. There. Goes behind it because there's a couple of guide holes, guide pegs that go in there. Okay, get everything positioned but not snapped into place yet. And then bring down the heater controls, because these have to slip in from the back. There's got to be a little room to get this back here. There, like that. And pull it forward, snap them into place. Plug in the radio. Don't forget the antenna. Goes in the back. Want the lower one here. These other cables aren't necessarily long enough to bring this out very far. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now let's feed this in. This also links up the unit below it. There. This vent unit, tucked wire underneath back there, links in here with the radio. Like I said, it's like a puzzle in the front. Snaps into place. Now everything can simply be snapped in. Alright, the fun part, let's just snap it all together. Not so bad. Remember the two screws that are alongside the piece with the passenger airbag and auxiliary on it. Before I snap these final turn pieces and the radio, remember the 4 10mm that go in the radio. Okay, we're up and running. Now that complete operation has been verified, everything works that's associated with any of these connections, you can simply snap all the trim back in place on both sides. Okay, the relay was good. The problem actually turned out to be a bad chassis ground. Thanks for watching.